So I'm just gonna glide right into this because Kelly, you just did a beautiful centering for us.
Yeah.
And I should have pressed record for that for everybody to receive it. But what did you say before we just press record?
Well, we were talking, at first the conversation started because I was so extremely tired today
Hmm.
I don't really know why, because I've been sleeping very well and I haven't been doing much. And I felt this way a couple days earlier. And I think that, we can get into detail what that means, but I feel like we've experienced time jumps.
Hmm.
And I think what happens is when that happens, our body has to catch up. And there's a sense of tiredness, but anxiousness that's under the skin,
Hmm.
if you understand what I'm saying. Even as I talk to you now, I'm trying to slow down my words, but I feel my heart going ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom.
Yes, I've been so feeling it. But before we kind of talk about that, can you explain in case anybody's like time jump? What do you mean? What does that language mean?
Well, time jump is, a lot of it has to do, and a lot of people that think about it has to do with the Schumann resonance of
Mm.
the Earth. And what that is the electromagnetic kind of signature of the Earth that wraps around the energy of the Earth, connected to her consciousness. And it has been steady for centuries, but there's been these breaks in the resonance. Like people that study it, they can see when they're looking at graphs, it's like almost like a line that looks like a break.
Hmm.
And then there's a flare, like, and it's also related to sun flares. So all this kind of information that's coming through frequency
Hmm.
creates what people call time jumps or time leaps. It also has to do with the Mandela effect. We're going deep now, which Mandela's effect is when two people totally have complete opposite ideas of what reality is. So it's really about reality. So the Mandela, some people think um, he died in prison, and the other people fully believe that he's alive.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like there's two versions, and you can dive deep after this conversation. You can Google it. But what it means is that if you look at reality, reality is based on our perception, individually and collectively. So a time jump is when you feel like all of a sudden you're on this path, and then you feel like suddenly things have shifted a bit. Like maybe
Hmm.
even small things like a hose that was running down to your yard suddenly is wrapped up, and you're like, that was not my reality or my timeline. So it's these little things, and what that means for us is, I think personally, what it is that we're experiencing these is because we are rising in frequency, and as we rise individually and collectively, we get more sensitive to these
Hmm.
shifts in reality. So I guess a time jump, to be simple, is a shift in reality.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. And the way that you described it too, I love yeah, that conversation around the Mandela effect is also how they, talk about string theory, which is
Yes.
the same thing that you're saying, but yeah, another language for it. So anybody out there listening, it's like, oh yeah, string theory, if that's resonant with you. But yeah, and I've always wondered, like, why is it that? Why is it Mandela? Or why is it, have you also heard about it? It's gonna be so silly. The Berenstein Bears.
No, I haven't seen, no, I haven't heard that one. What
Yeah,
is
the
that?
Berenstein Bears, that's also a thing is it's basically that it's well, some of us remember it in a certain way it's spelled. I won't
Oh,
say
okay.
which one because people will get two different versions. But then when you go back and actually look at the book, it's completely different from what the majority of us in the timeline that we're sharing remembers it to be. So yeah, it's like why these little weird like why Berenstein Bears? Why mandala? So that's
I
yeah.
mean, there's also something what the icon on, is it Monopoly? The guy with, does he have a
Right, the
spectacle
monocle. Yeah.
or does he not? Like that's another
Yeah,
thing.
I know. It's so weird. Like these little things that you think, why is that the significant thing? But I don't want to get too far off of that. But I want to go back to what you were speaking to of feeling tired and then that anxiety underneath it. Can you explain a little bit as to maybe why we're feeling that? I've definitely been feeling that.
Yeah, I do think if because I everything that I talk about and I even teach about, is because we lead to heal and we heal to lead. And it's all because how we feel it embodied in ourselves.
Mhm.
And how do that anxiousness, I love, I don't know, that just came, that anxiousness under the skin is such a perfect
Mhm.
way to define it.
Mhm.
Because I might sit here, I might start to talk a little bit fast, but to most people I feel calm. Where underneath I feel like this is like there's this like kind of energy system just jumping and moving and kind of creating
Mhm.
a little faster heartbeat, a little bit of that kind of anxiety. And I really think it's because when we like, it's I'm almost like in the dream state. Like when we are in this kind of state of moving from one reality to the other, hence the Mandela effect, hence time leaps and time jumping, spiritually, energetically, we can be much faster on absorbing and understanding it. But because our body is dense,
Mhm.
it's three-dimensional. We have a cellular system, a skeleton system, blood, bones. It's dense. We
Mhm.
are like that's like in the opening meditation, the formless to the form.
Mhm.
know? So in the formless state of you, Phoebe and me, Kelly, we can experience these higher frequencies. We can experience them through dream state. But when we are in our waking, walking state, we're still resonating at that frequency. We've carried that embodiment with us, but our body's like, what the hell?
Right. It's like trying to recalibrate.
What's going on inside?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's that anxiousness under the skin.
Yeah, I feel that. I think that that's sort of the story of my life too, because everyone thinks, "Oh, your voice is so calm and you seem so calm," but usually like inside I'm like, "Oh my God." Because of that space of expansion. That's what I feel is my one of my teachers has always explained expansion and anxiety are literally the same thing. It's just a choice, right? Because both of them are moving into a place of the unknown.
I
In
love that.
anxiety, you're fearing it, and expansion, you're more like excited for it.
Yeah.
And so it's just the story you're telling yourself in that. So I love what you just spoke to, the anxiety under your skin, but also kind of like saying, well, this is just expansion under the skin.
It is. Okay. Oh, it's going to be a blog post. So I'm going to be writing about this. Um,
Okay, I want to bring that into your blog because you have a beautiful blog out there and yeah, we shared an experience that inspired the blog and might as well share with some of our friends in the space in between. Do you want to share that recent experience a little bit?
yes. Yeah. Isn't that funny? I sent a picture of you in a kayak too, right? Recently.
Yeah.
um, yeah. So, to make a long story short, we were together in St. Croix at the Featherleaf Inn at your mastermind retreat in this past April, which was an amazing experience and recommend that to anybody thinking about it because you're having another one in November.
Mhm.
So, you had curated these excursions to kind of help us as we're integrating everything that we're learning through you. So one of the excursions was to go kayaking in
Mhm.
the biosphere. Is that what it's called? The biosphere?
Bioluminescence. And it was
Bio,
the whole, it was that day where we were going into that darkness. Yeah, we are going inquiry because then we were going to go see the sunrise the next day on the most eastern point of the states. But yeah, we were going into the darkness to find that light within, right? That
right. Yes.
bioluminescence. Yeah.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And that is a true ceremonial journey is the descent and
Mm-hmm.
then and that leads into the ascend, into the reawakening. So yeah, so I don't know, what was going on. I wasn't feeling all of a sudden we get there and it's right at dusk. We have to go right at dusk when we're lining up and and the guy's giving us the speech and I'm not feeling great. And then I look at the map of the drone shot of the overall. I'm like, are we going that far out? I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, because I had done it before, just through like little canals in Puerto Rico,
Right.
and it was I felt we were very close to the shore, so I'm like, oh. So we get in there, you and I shared a kayak,
Well, let's go back to because you had, before you started to freak out quietly, you had already volunteered to help me because I had
yes,
surgery. So you're like, I
yes,
got you, girl. I
yeah,
got you.
I got you, I got
You're
you,
also
yeah.
realizing, oh wait, what did I just promise?
I got you, guy. And that's the whole story. The whole story ended up being about allowing yourself to be towed in,
Yeah.
and that is kind of like the energy or the what I go to is like, yes, I can do that. Yes, I got you.
Hmm.
Yes, I can carry you. You know,
Hmm.
always leading with that. Being from a strong
Hmm.
Italian family, a matriarchal family, like I was always, yes, I'll step up. you know. So I volunteered. So, you're in the front, you just had your surgery,
Hmm.
and we're like, and paddling and paddling. It's way out there. We had to go not into open ocean, but we had to go into an open bay
Yeah.
that had a kind of a current. And all of a sudden, I have a back injury. I have a shoulder injury that flares up. It's a long story, but I'm saying all of a sudden I'm getting this pain in my back shoulder, and I'm like, oh my God. And we're going, and it's forever. And we're kind of paddling, and you're doing the best you can, but you can't even move because it's their whole core, and your core is everything, like this, and I'm like this, and I'm like, oh. So we finally, I swear to God, I did not know that we were going to make it. I like to the other end. Like, it was really about going into the darkness. It was really going into the
And
depth
it
of
was
the
literally
shadow.
getting darker. And I don't know if you realize this too, but when we started, we were the first in line. And then all of a sudden, everybody's ahead of us. And we were all of a sudden the last. And it was like, and it was dark and we couldn't see that. It was like, oh,
I know, I know.
we're not
We're
going
the
to.
we were the last all of a sudden, and I'm like, did they forget about us? Like they're like, oh, we're like, so it got to the point where my shoulder was like on fire. I couldn't
Yeah.
even I couldn't even move, and I know that you were doing the best you can, and the young
Yeah.
instructor at the beginning said to us, if you need to be towed in,
Yes.
feel free, don't feel embarrassed. That's why we're here,
Yeah.
the young whippersnapper that he was. And so we finally get to the bay, and they're talking about how the different kinds of life that you can see, how you can put your hand into the darkness and see the light below. I mean, symbolically,
So
um,
beautiful.
the messaging was so powerful, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's so amazing!" And I'm like, in the back, I'm just like to myself, I'm just, I don't care about. They can just float around all around me. I'm not gonna put my like. I was just over it. Like I was just in so much pain, and it, and to talk about like going like it's a lesson about like going into your body, kind of to try to move through it, but also knowing when to be towed in. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what the whole story is. When we got there, we spent about 45 minutes in the bay, and then we needed to go back, and I said to the young man, I said, I think we need to be towed in, remember? He's
Yes.
like, what, are you kidding? And I'm
I
like,
thought you were
oh.
joking.
I
Yeah.
don't, then the Worcester came out with me. I'm like, yes. I'm like, I'm not kidding. I need to. 'Cause I've completely surrendered my need to be, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
At this point, I knew that I needed help,
Hmm.
I had to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big deal for both of us to ask to be towed in. And what
Mhm.
happened was Willa, the female guide, we went over to her because he was like not taking us seriously. And she's like, I got you. So I love that it ended up being this like little tiny, woman that she's like, I got you, pulling us in and us just surrendering to it because the two of you, both of us, we are not people that like to ask for help.
Oh,
And through my cancer journey, I've definitely surrendered to that and being more okay with it and receiving it. And for you too, just I've been
yeah.
seeing you throughout the years, surrendering to it in your own way.
And I think the whole story that and it really kind of really affected me, really touched my heart. Really, it was one of those aha moments when I'm like
Mm,
understanding how courageous it is to
hmm.
ask for help.
Hmm. Oh, I was just listening to Brene Brown on a podcast talking about vulnerability and courage. And she said, literally, you can't be vulnerable. You have to have courage in order to be vulnerable.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You do because you're taking away the mask.
Hmm.
You're taking away your shields. You're like, this
Yeah,
is me underneath it all. Like underneath the
exactly.
water in the darkness, this is me,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Yeah.
and my luminesque wants to be shining through, but like I have to be in a place where I can be seen. It's also another beautiful story about allowing yourself to truly be seen.
Hmm.
You know, there's so many messages and about the art of letting go, and being towed in. Um,
Yeah.
so, we were towed in by this young woman who was, like you said, she's like, I gotcha. We again were the last one back, I think.
Hmm. That's okay. Okay.
I did, even though, I had a while to rest, I still did do a little paddling,
Yeah, both of us did. Yeah.
when we can. But I think we knew there was an ease to it now because
Hmm.
somebody was supporting us.
Yeah.
Somebody was holding us.
Exactly. And
So,
that is, it's not like, oh, we just like laid back and we're like, yeah, she's got us. Like
yeah.
there was some grace there of knowing, oh, okay, gotcha. And I like to think that that's what nOMad is for all of us, right? Is this place where you know that you're not alone and we've got you and we're here to support you in all the ways. I feel that too, right? Like you were there for me, not just me being the leader of nOMad, but like I received that too. I feel held by you all at times too.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah, it is very true. That is what nomad is about for sure.
yeah,
Just being in a community of people that, will tell you in who got your back,
yeah,
that sees you. Like how important it is to know that you can be vulnerable, have the courageous heart to be vulnerable, to be seen, and know that people will support you. I mean, that's a
yeah.
beautiful community that you've created.
Well, you're a huge part of it, and I want to go back to what you were saying about the luminescence, and also just how you also brought something out of someone specifically on that retreat too, with your one of your enlightening gifts. Do you want to
Oh,
share a little bit about that? Do you know what I'm
yes.
talking about?
Yes, and we love her so much.
Yeah.
So, part of, the offerings that you did as part of your mastermind retreat was soul portraits, was offering people the
Mhm.
soul portraits. I still
Yeah.
owe you one, so I
We'll,
still
we'll get there.
we gotta think. And so soul portraits is my bridging, is my years of a photographer and my years as a meditator and a spiritual person, somebody that can channel and speaks light language. We can get into that. I've always kept them in separate worlds, separate lanes,
Mm,
you know. And at some point, they just began to merge together. Soul Portraits is part of that vision of bringing what I do as a seer in photography with a lens and what I do as a seer with my heart, what I do for
mm,
my retreats. So, a soul portrait is a guided meditation because, I can, I don't really tell people, but, I can tap into the Akashic records. I kind of like to, I don't even like to call it the Akashic records because I feel like the Akashic is earth based. I feel
mm,
I'm more galactic and harmonic. I can reach
mm,
into those kind of lives, not just earth-based life, but more of your whatever your soul's journey, even if it's off planet.
mhm,
So I do a guided meditation, whatever I'm leading and whatever I see. I just, it's like that's how I do a channeled meditation. I am actually just telling the story through meditation of what I'm witnessing, observing your soul in another life or another experience.
mhm.
So with our dear friend, we did that, and I just spotted to Lemuria. Lemuria is also called Mu, is where the Hawaiian. Actually, I just saw a podcast, and it's even bigger than I realized. It's through the Hawaiian island chains all the way to
Yeah,
Easter Island
yeah,
and to the other coast. It was a huge continent.
yeah.
I just thought it was. I just realized how much bigger than it actually was. That it was pre-human civilization. It was actually one of the first civilizations where how do I how do I say this without sounding totally like woo? Um,
Hey,
where
we're here. We're in the space in between. Anything goes.
the Palladians, which were the Star Mothers, which was
Yeah.
an alien race that came from there that was very humanoid, very and they were the Star Mothers. They came to there and they created the civilization of Lemuria, and with it brought gene technology, which they created like the beginning of what human race is, also agriculture, language, um, you know, community. They just created this amazing, beautiful civilization. And, I just felt that that's where she was originated from. I felt she was very Palladian, very Lemurian.
Mm,
So I took her on a journey, and I always saw her there, surrounded by children, and
mm,
almost like a queen position, or a position of kind of, like a high eldership, and brought her through this, brought her into the water, and had her connect to the whales, and which I found out later how much she's connected to. I always knew because she lives near them, but and through that deep meditation, she started to activate her light language, her
Mm,
ability to speak in light language. And
mm,
and I just knew it's like just like she just had this kind of awakening of her. Like I always say that light languages are language of sound, vibration, and energy.
mhm,
It is the words that you hear is more of a harmonic sounding that awakens something specifically within each person's DNA
mhm,
and cellular structure, and it's connected to your soul. So when you speak light language, I always say it's like speak your higher monad oversoul is using these channels, these frequencies to speak to you, not so your human mind can understand, so it can move into the space of your divine mind and your heart,
mhm,
as an opening. So she started to, she went through it, she taped it. I told her to tape it. And then she all that she is speaking light language all the time. Like she actually
yeah.
recorded herself speaking it and sent it to me. And it's so beautiful. And it's
Mm,
so beautiful. And you can say, well, what's this mean to me? How do I like my next retreat is called Embodied Revelation, which
mm,
means my guides told me that I wanted to call it this because it means taking you come from like a curiosity, right? You go through the retreats, the spiritual awakening, you have that awakeness, then you have these experiences. Then what's next? The next is embodying it into your truth. So embodied
mhm,
revelation is embodying truth within you. So you go
mm,
out like you know how they say in yoga, take the yoga off the mat,
yeah.
right? We need a saying for that. How do we take meditation off the mat? We need to take
Yeah.
meditation off the mat. We need to
Yeah.
embody it and be walking,
Take
like
your
I,
revelations off the mat. Is that
yeah.
essentially what you're saying? Your curiosity, your awakening. So it's not just a spiritual experience. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, I remember when I, first started, with Joe Dispenza, really getting into my channeling, into my ability to, receive information. And I would spend hours meditating in the morning
Hmm.
for years and years, hours, and I would be in such a bliss state.
Hmm.
But when I left that bliss state, when I got off the mat, I was still Kelly the human that was motherfucker triggered all the time. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so I think that, what I really want to do for myself and through the retreats that I'm offering is having us understand how we walk within that embodied state, you know?
Hmm.
Um, that is what true healing is. We're always going to be triggered. We're human. That's why we chose to come here to experience it. But it's how we navigate through them, how we
Yeah.
breathe that. And that means even asking to be towed in when you have to be, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So she's speaking light language, and and what I think that's really amazing and why I'm really looking about maybe doing a light language course. It feels very daunting to me right now to create something like that. I
Hmm.
so easily can do it one-on-one or in my larger groups.
Yeah.
But she is shining. Have you
Mm.
noticed it? Like
Hmm.
the confidence level in her.
Hmm.
Um, and she's with her healing modalities and the singing bowl. She wants to start singing light language into that,
Mm, I love that.
you know
First, so can you speak to that a little bit more if this is something you're playing with in terms of a course or some sort of training? Um, what exactly, like, how do you find your way to? I mean, you just shared the story of how, the person we're talking about. I think we shared it on the podcast, but I don't want to give it away if it's out of privacy. But yeah, so how does somebody else like find this or think like, oh wait, I think that's what happened to me? Because I know you have a story and we shared it on a previous interview about your way of finding it. Maybe you could share that again briefly of like how do people feel this pull or know to feel this pull or maybe they did it and then they buried it sometime like because what you're
so
yeah, go ahead.
so we did talk about my journey, how I got there, but just to briefly kind of touch upon that, you know, I when I was in my 20s, I was really into born again
Mhm.
Christianity. I dive deep,
Mhm.
for 2.5 years I was in it, and oh, there's a long story too of why I got in it. I don't, did I ever tell you about the miracle of the mascara?
I think so. I think that was you
Yeah.
told the whole story. Yeah, I don't remember that word specifically, but you told me your root.
Well, you know how I got really into being a born again was I was kind of curious and I was going and I had poked my eye with a mascara wand
Oh yes, yes.
and it wouldn't heal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
you did
then,
tell me that.
to make a long story short, somebody said at one of the sermons, some people here are about afraid about losing their sight, but it's more
Mm-hmm.
about the vision on your heart. And my eye was healed the next day. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, I just went in, I dived deep, and I in born again religions, um, Pentecostal, they do. Where you're slain with the Holy Spirit and you go down. It's almost like when you are Christian, you're in the water and then you come up and you're slain with the Holy Spirit. And part of doing that is ability to speak in tongues.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like 23 years old. And I came up and I'm speaking in tongues. And I always spoke in tongues privately, here and there. When I started to meditate a lot and work with Joe Dispenza's meditations, I would quietly do the light language, and it just kind of started to come up. Then in my writing got deeper in my channeling. So I feel like if people are feeling that, like it's almost like sometimes when you feel it, if you can just move out of that mind of judgment, of self
Mm-hmm.
judgment, if you can just step aside, it's almost like, I work with my teachers and mentors from the Divine University, and it's all about opening your channel, this pillar of light, this
Mm-hmm.
divine pillar of light. If you can imagine it going up and down your spinal cord, up into source, you step into that and allow that frequency to move through that channel. You might find that all of a sudden your body starts to sway, you start
Mm-hmm.
to feel like you things words want to come up, or maybe even like doodling, because doodling can lead to light language, writing light language, and
Mm-hmm.
you just have to play and allow it to come up. That's all I
Yeah.
have to say. And there's so many people online talking about light language now, like
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago, no, not so much. Nowadays it's kind of like, you know don't you think it's very in light language?
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to hear why you think that.
Why do I think light language
Like
is?
why is it trending in a sense?
Because people are rising in their frequency and vibration,
Yeah.
collectively and individually, for
Yeah.
sure. And I think that more people have the ability about to have it, and then I think people that have been speaking it and doing it for a long time are feeling okay with themselves stepping out to show that, to teach that, to facilitate that. That it's
Yeah.
not something, um, I think the judgment of like, oh, that's from the devil, or that's bad, or
Mm-hmm.
that's evil. I think people have moved away from those kind of thoughts that hold people kind of in a self-imposed prison of their own limitations.
Yeah.
Like we create our own self-limitations. There's a lot of programming that goes on as children and young adults, even in adulthood. So I think nowadays that I think that those programs, those are being kind of torn down,
Mm-hmm.
those agreements,
I
that
think
we've
so too.
had. Huh?
Yeah, I think so too, for sure. And I
Yeah,
think that when you have an awakening, like you just can't go back,
you can't
right?
go
Like
back.
that paradigm is completely shifting. And like you said, there's so many more people that are waking up and we're having these timeline jumps. And and this just feels natural, right?
Mm.
Like it's natural, but it's also like, oh wait, what is this? Oh wait, this is a thing, right? And then you're awakening up to that it's you're not alone in this, and now you just want to talk about it and connect with each other.
Exactly. And what I love
Yeah.
about light language, it's very much embodied. Like when I'm
Hmm.
walking around in the supermarket, I'm like, "Aiya, mokotati, hiya, mokotata, hiya, I like be talking to myself in light language. People look at me. I'll talk to my dog in light language. Like I talk to my husband behind his back in light language.
Ah, I love
You
it.
know, we have a fight and I'm behind him going, "Oh, shia tokomoia la mo, oh, mo ma shia la roko," you know? So, it's just, you know what I really feel the biggest thing that I'm just being told? What it does is it really creates a shift in your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Shift
I
in
can
that
feel that.
reality, like we've been
Yeah.
talking about, you know?
Yeah. I
It
feel
moves
that.
us from this state into this state,
Yeah.
just by
That,
using, yeah.
yeah. For me, it's always been movement. Like the
Yes.
way that you described getting into experiencing light language, that the same thing, like you can even see as I'm sitting here with you, I'm sort of, this is what happens when I get into that midday state. I just can't stop moving. Like my body just is vibrating. And then that's where I feel like, oh, I need to move, and I free and I move and dance. And that's just sort of how I've always, my mom always jokes that I danced before I walked because I was in the Jolly Jumper and I was dancing around all the time. But yeah,
I
so
love
I
that.
think that is that a thing? Is that light language is through movement
Yes,
as
it
well?
is. It is
Yeah,
light language. And
that
light
I,
language can be this, like
yeah, like
the movement.
mudras. Yeah.
Light language can be that movement of the body. Because
Hmm.
light language is the expression of your soul moving through your body, through your vocal cords, through your lips,
Hmm.
through your
It's a fight.
writing,
Yeah.
you
It's
know.
expand. It's illuminating that vibration, it feels like through the body or through, like you said, the vocal cords.
Hmm, hmm.
Yeah. And so you have a couple of retreats coming up, I
I
believe.
do. I do.
And
Thank.
do
I
you
have.
interweave the light language? Like what does that feel like?
I do. I do. I have, especially in the first one, which is the embodied revelation soul alchemy. This is we're working with the portal of the Lion's Gate, so we're working with that courageous heart, and again, like we're rising in frequency, but on these specific days, they're portals, so we will rise, and the portal energy even rises us higher. So the potential for us to expand is even greater using those moments, right?
Yeah.
So I'm working with Angelia and Nixer, and we've curated this whole thing about embodying your truth. So part of the programming will be a light language course or light language meditation and activation. It will be because again, it's about I feel like light language is that embodiment, right, of spirit, of our divinity. You know, and with Heal Your Roots, which is in, so, again, I have two retreats back to back. Didn't want to plan it that way, but just happened to have, like, because I'm working with teachers and
But
scheduling,
they're different. Yeah, it's
they're very
different.
different. Um, uh, with Heal Your Roots, I probably will not do light language unless I feel called to do it at some point. At the last Soul Alchemy, I had it on my schedule on Sunday, and I did not do it because what happened was so powerful with us doing heart stitching, fire
Mm,
gazing, connecting on such a emotional level that spirit's like, no, no light language here. So, even
hmm.
though, that's why you know, when I work with Heal My Roots and the other two um, facilitators, they come from a priestess kind of state of so they don't even tell people what the ceremony is. They say
Hmm.
it's a descent and ascend, and we have a little bit of ideas because, again, if we're called to do something
Same.
different because of the energy of the group, we
Yeah.
don't want somebody to say, "Well, you said we're going to do us, this and this." So, Soul Alchemy is a little bit more of a solid program of because, we have things that we've been teaching. This is our fifth one together. I can't believe I've done five. I
Beautiful.
can't believe it.
Amazing.
And I'm very grateful because the last one was so incredibly powerful.
Mm,
And for all of us, it was a shift and a healing of everybody there, the teachers, the beautiful souls that came to experience it. So yeah, it's just really exciting, and they're both so different. So, Heal Your Roots, I'm very excited with because we've created ceremony for this particular retreat. One is called the Ancestral Throne Work, and I don't want to go deep into it, but when we channeled, it is kind of our version of family constellations.
hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
way that we're actually working with the mother line, the mother
Hmm.
energy line, in a way that's kind of like that, where
Okay.
the whole weekend is about releasing the burden and receiving the gift, and ceremony to kind of
Yeah.
support that journey. you know. And I think soul alchemy is the same thing. It's been what I've been working on all year long with the Anana Seven Gates that we did. That's the same
Hmm.
thing. Removing the so this whole series of retreats and one day workshops with you has all been that message about learning. Again, I think it's part of the embodiment. It's time
Hmm.
for us to release those burdens because we're opening up, we're becoming so much more expansive that we can tap into these gifts, gifts that we've had not just in this lifetime, but maybe past lifetimes,
Hmm.
off planet lifetimes, gifts that are
Feel
waiting to
that.
drop into our body. You know, I just
Yeah.
feel that dropping in, you know, light language is it to drop in, you know. And
Yeah.
dancing too. What is it that there's a lot of traditions and cultures that
Hmm.
use dance to get into a meditative state. What is that?
The world, you're doing this, so I'm thinking the dervishes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, so I mean, yeah, I mean, there's dance in so many ceremonies, right? Because
Yeah,
it's about crossing the threshold, rite of passage, but it's a way of moving the energy through you
yeah.
and for your community, right? It's not just you, but your whole entire community is experiencing it. But I just want to get back
I
to
just
your,
want once I just want
yeah,
to
yeah,
piggyback on that one
yeah,
last
yeah,
thing.
please.
Talking about that anxiousness under our skin that we were just talking
Mm,
about.
hmm.
Just had been just understanding and been told that that is we need to move that through our body. That anxiousness needs to move out of our body. Like,
Yes.
you know, before this call, I feel so much better now, don't you? Do you feel like
Yeah. Well, that's why we always need a Movement 109 ceremony.
exactly?
Like, just move that shit. Move it
I
through your
know.
body.
So if you're feeling that anxiousness underneath your skin because you just experienced a time jump, just dance.
Just dance. Just put on a song. We'll put in a playlist after this podcast. You can listen to it. Oh my gosh. And Kelly, you were not a dancer when I met you. Well, you were, but
I was just
secretly.
I love to dance and in my mind's eye I feel like I'm a great dancer.
You are. You're beautiful. You're so joyful. But you did
Um
not want to be seen or be around people when you
I
first
know. I think because growing up, whenever I danced, to be honest, it was like at a club at night. It was dark. Maybe I've had a few drinks.
right.
You know,
Like
that
you're a
was the
little more.
90s, you know?
No, I get that's for a lot of people, right? Like they feel like there's some sort of weird story of like this is the
Yeah.
only appropriate time. It's dark, there's drinks, you're
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
don't have your,
Yeah.
the filters are down and you can let loose and
Exactly.
it's like no, you could do that anytime.
Yeah. No, no, I
Yeah.
love it. Usually drum circles, I'm usually a crazy person and dancing
I
in the middle.
love it.
So,
That's awesome.
um,
But let's get back to your retreats because
okay.
you have a beautiful property in upstate New York in Saugerties, and this is where you're hosting these two retreats. So
Yes.
anyone out there listening and like, I gotta meet this chick. Can you just summarize again, just one more time, the two retreats, when they are, and also
Sure.
like which one, like who is it, who are you calling for this, like the soul alchemy, and who are you calling for heal your
Heal your
roots,
roots
right? Yeah.
for personal freedom. That's the name of it.
Yeah.
So, but the first one, Soul Alchemy,
Yeah.
Embodied Revelation is August 7th through the 9th,
Okay.
right through the Lions Gate. I mean, I think the 8th is on that Saturday night, so we're
Yes.
right in the middle of that portal.
Oof.
Woo! It's
All
going to be at
right.
a place called River Song up in Saugerties, New York, at my property. You know, a 5-bedroom, cute little cottage on the Esopus. I used to say river, but somebody corrected me. It's a creek.
Oh, it does not feel like a creek,
It
but
does
yeah,
not feel like a creek.
yeah, I get you.
So, and that will be with myself, Angelia, and Nixa. We come together with our gifts. Angelia is part of the Divine University. She speaks in light language. She's an Akashic soul reader. She is a mystic and a seer, and she brings in her beautiful, beautiful magic and ceremonies. Nixer is very much into tantric Vajrayana philosophy by Douglas Brooks, who's I took 1 year of classes with him, and she's very well educated in knowledge. Like she's like a walking encyclopedia. Very like 20 years of working in that tradition,
Mm.
that you know the Hindu tradition of spirituality. So we and then I come in with my gifts. So I think that anybody that's interested in soul alchemy is somebody that has had the curiosity, has had a bit of an awakening, has now is looking for that rebirth, looking for how do I move to the next step? How do I take what I like the tools I've been given, maybe dance and meditation and breath work, how do I take that and take it off the mat? How
Mm-hmm.
do I take that to live in my life in the fullest expression of who I am?
Beautiful.
That's embodied truth. And that's who I'm calling people in. What is
Okay.
the next step on my journey? Because I feel like I'm here, but I feel like the bliss when I meditate or when I'm with like-minded people, when I go on in the world, I feel like I need to be towed in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the plug in,
Yes, yes, bring it back.
full
Okay,
circle,
and heal your roots.
heal your roots. You know, I was really connected to the mother goddess energy for a long time, the mother line. And I created a meditation a couple years back, connecting to the Divine Mother, like going to a birthing cave and actually experiencing your first birth ever to
Mhm.
release
Wow.
burdens. So I created this meditation years ago, and I kept like in the back of my head, I wanted to take that theme and just make it like more about that ancestral because it was an ancestral bloodline meditation. So I wanted to like, how can I take that theme and bring it out into a weekend ceremonies where we can understand how there is a burdens that we inherited, behaviors and personality traits that might have been created, passed down, not ours to hold anymore. Like something that you think is your personality might just be a behavior that you learned, right? So, Jen, and Tiffany from Sister Compass, amazing women. They come from very strong ceremonial practice. We just curated it together. They are amazing breathwork facilitators. They, are Reiki masters. So we just have come together to take that theme and how we can dive deeper. Like we're working with the mother line, but it doesn't mean it's just for women. We all have mothers, but we're working on that specific mother line, like
Mm.
what has been inherited, and maybe stuff from the father line can come in through because we're totally open. This is the second one, but it's about those learned behaviors, these burdens, like that's what, like, the Nana goddess meditation, like we took off the crown at the gate, the
Mm.
necklace off the gate, the breastplate, these things that no longer, these titles, these roles, these responsibilities are no longer ours. Again,
Mm-hmm.
to embody more of our personal truth. So really
Yeah.
both retreats are about embodying your truth,
Yeah.
just
But
through
just in
different
a
ways.
slightly different, yeah, slightly different way.
So I think the people that want to go that is, they again haven't had an experience, an awakening, and they are starting to observe patterns of behavior that they don't understand and they want to move away from, and they want to have more clarity and justice and not justice, clarity and understanding, and a way to be seen with other
Hmm.
people and to let that go. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Again, to open up to those gifts. You know.
Yeah. And
So.
we'll have the link in the show notes here to come and join Kelly if you're listening to this before August. And
Well, I
there's
know I thought it
that's
was so far away, because when we started planning these at the beginning of the year, and now it's like,
right. Ugh,
it's like
this year is just whew, going
I
like that.
know it's crazy. So
Oh
yeah,
my
so we
gosh.
have some we've had we have some spaces left. We've had a couple bookings, which is very helpful and exciting, and we have maybe 2 or 3 spaces left, and both of them. My place is small and intimate, so 8 to 10 people, but there's a lot of Airbnb and hotels around.
Okay.
So yeah, if anybody's interested, they can reach out. We'll throw some
Beautiful.
light language in there if anybody feels that they they feel the need to come out, that light
Bring it
language.
out.
Just bring it out.
Bring it out. I love it.
It's
And
joyful.
and how else can people stay in touch with you?
Through my website, The Divine Hive. It has
Hmm.
both retreats on it. It has it has information about my soul portraits if you're interested in that. Also about like an Akashic galactic readings, if you want to take something a little deeper than just the soul portraits, a longer meditation aspect. And
Mm.
I'm in the middle of creating a 7-week course on Anana's descent into the seven gates. So
Amazing.
one meditation per session for each gate. I've been
I
working
love
on
that.
that in
Yeah,
Squarespace. I want to pull my
I
hair
know
out.
I know you've been you want to pull your hair out. It'll all be worth it. I
I
mean,
got most
I
of
know.
the framework done on the site. It's just now
Yeah.
making it live, you know.
You're gonna get a live girl. It'll be out there. So, and the last question we are asking these days in the space in between is what does the space in between mean for you right now, where you're at?
The space in between. I always love that saying and that visual. Okay. The space in between for me means acceptance and peace.
Mm,
Like I feel if I step into that space, and I always think about like the inhale, the pause, and the exhale.
hmm
And we often talk about the pause, right? That's the space in between. And I feel if you can extend that pause as much as you can, you'll find that freedom. So I feel
mm,
that's what it is, freedom.
I love that. Thank you, Kelly. Is there anything else we need to explore before we say goodbye?
Um, I don't think so. I think this has been a great, I always love
Oh my
talking to you,
gosh. I
right?
know, I do too. We love I love where we go in all the different realms.
We do. We do. We
Yeah,
hit a lot. We had a lot of
so beautiful.
interesting subjects and conversations, and it's always very easy to talk to you and to be on this other end of the podcast Zoom world. So thank you so much for inviting me
Thank you
and
so much. I'm
being a
so,
mentor in so many ways.
mm, I learned from you too, sister. I love it. Well, thank you for being in the space in between, Kelly. And like we said, all of the links that Kelly mentioned, they'll be in the show notes.
Okay.
So please, please follow Kelly and come visit her at her next couple of retreats.
Yep,
Their
August and
spots are still
September.
open.
Yep, yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.